So here is the JSON object. I just updated it. So let me try to get all the data once we click this button. So now it do nothing, but I want to click this button and the whole data for Ahmed and Rob be displayed. So let me explain the code before we start coding. The first step will be for loop to access to each object inside the array. So I want to access to the first object and the second object inside the array. Let we call it father array. Then we have another array to access to the art. Why it's for art and it's not for sport? Sport is also an array. But here we have two values, and also for Rob we have two values. But for art, here we have two values, and here we have one value. So how we can just here display two values and here display one value. So for loop will help us to do this, and also if condition. So let's get started. So firstly, let we access to the button, and within the button will be the function that will get all the data inside the object. So document get element by ID, and the ID here is ptn that an event on click equal to function. Within this function, firstly let we define a variable which will take the whole data that we want to display within the object. So I will define a variable and call it text and it will equal to empty. Then let me start making for loop to access to the objects inside the array. So for and variable I equal to 0 and this variable I less than or equal to, we can make it 2, but maybe someone want to increase the number of objects inside the array. He want to make a third object. So to make sure, we just say identity dot length. So it will get the length of the array. Wherever someone remove an object or add an object, and then increment I. So within the loop, the text will equal to the all text which is empty now plus starting paragraph tag plus, like before, let me type some paragraphs. My name is, then plus identity I dot name plus break tag to separate between the lines, then plus time and then plus identity I dot age plus years old and plus. So now we display the name and the age. Just to remain the hobbies which contain an object. One sport has an array consists of two values, and art consists of two values for the first object and one value for the second object. So for the hobbies sport, we will just continue like this. My favorite sport and plus identity I dot hobbies dot sport 0. So it will display the first index inside the array. You can make a for loop for it, but we don't need it because it just consists of two elements. But if we have a lot of values, you can use loop to make it easy. Plus and and then identity I sport, but this time is 1, index 1, then plus break tag. So now within the array we will display the name, the age, and favorite sport. Just to remain art, we will create another loop to display the elements inside the art array. So before we display art, let me see if this is true or not. So let me display the data within the division, this division, which has an ID text. So document dot get element by ID, and the ID is text dot inner html equal to text, which is the variable that holds all the data. So let me see now. My name is Ahmed. I am 23 years old. My favorite sport, football and gym. And also for the second object, just we forgot to add here a break tag to separate between the age and the hobbies. So what we see now, nice. Just remain to display the art. So to do this, let we create another loop inside the main loop. So variable x equal to 0, and this x is less than identity I dot hobbies dot art dot length. So now we get the length of the array art. We can't type numbers because according to art we don't have a specific or constant number of values for each array. Here we have 2 values, but here we have just 1 value. So we have to get the length of the array. So identity I, which is mean any object inside the main array that hobbies. So we access to the object hobbies and then specified the object art and get the length of the array art, and then increment x, and within this loop let me make sure if x equal 0, in this case text will equal to the all text, which is now equal to all this value, and plus my favorite art is, and plus identity I that hobbies that art x, but else the text will equal to the all text, which is now equal to this value plus the updated value here. So this is now the text, and we will add the second item inside the array if there is a second item. So and identity I that hobbies that art x, and plus it will close the paragraph tag, and plus it will make a line to separate each object. Let me review with this loop. So now I define a variable x equal to 0, and this x is less than the length of the array art, and then increment this x. So if x equal to 0, if the index here is 0, so display the last text plus this item, but if the condition is not true. In this case, display the second item. But we already displayed the first item, so I want now to add the second item if there is a second item. Let me see. My name is Ahmed. I am 23 years old. My favorite sport is football and gym. My favorite art, drawing and sculpting, and also for the second object. But my favorite art is reading. We just have one value. So just the first condition is true, but the second condition didn't even happen. I hope you got the idea. So that's how you can loop through a JSON object. Next, we will learn how to get a JSON data from server.